Acorn TV, proud sponsor of Just Seen It, offers hundreds of hours of British mysteries, dramas, and comedies streaming commercial-free on demand. Learn about our 30-day trial at acorn.tv/PTV. On this episode of Just Seen It, we review the holiday musical, Black Nativity.
If you cast Mary J. Blige in a movie, let her sing!
The remake of the horror classic, Oldboy.
For the first time in his directorial career, Spike Lee is making a movie that's not called the Spike Lee Joint.
The action thriller, Homefront.
Statham here is working from a script from his Expendables buddy Sylvester Stallone.
And the animated adventure, Frozen.
It's Josh Gad as a snowman. Enough said.
All right here on Just Seen It. A streetwise kid is raised by his single mother in Baltimore. During the Christmas holiday, he travels to New York City to spend time with relatives he's never met.
I got a mouth to feed, but I can't make these ends meet.
She's struggling. What kind of parents are you? We're the broken-hearted kind.
There, he begins an inspirational journey of self-discovery in the holiday musical, Black Nativity.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah, and today we're here to discuss the new film from Cassie Lemons called Black Nativity, based on a Langston Hughes play from 1961. We've all just seen it. Who'd like to start?
This movie has a lot of very important themes, and I think that what it's trying to do is very admirable. It's talking about history, it's talking about family, community. I think it's a little bit uneven in the way that it expresses those themes. You're taking a gospel drama musical and you're turning it into film, and I think that there are some issues with the conventions and the way that they do that.
This is a very unique film. It's a Christian-themed Christmas musical with an all-African-American cast. I think the director took a big swing at doing something different and out of the box. I just think she didn't hit the mark.
What we're grappling with here is that this is a film that is produced by T.D. Jakes, who has become a very powerful and prominent Christian-themed producer for Hollywood. He runs a mega church. And I wonder if, because of the kind of priority that's placed on being full of uplift and being positive, and no matter what your problems are, whatever's going on with you in the world, if you just believe in God and you just have faith, it will carry you through. The characters don't matter, the story doesn't matter, the plot doesn't matter. All that matters here is the message.
The movie is made for a very
like
specific audience. And I think that specific audience will probably enjoy the film.
Absolutely.
The first half of it, you have internal monologues that are sung, and it's this strange convention where one character is singing and the other characters aren't really supposed to hear, and that at first was very jarring to me because the rest of the acting is subtle and naturalistic. But once you get into the second part of it, is, there's the dream sequence, there's other things that are more stylized, and so some of these bigger themes and some of the singing numbers and things, those work for me much better, and that part of the movie I do feel like is successful.
We cannot see, and we didn't know who you were.
It's probably good to point out Jennifer Hudson has 3 films that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
She has Winnie, she has The Inevitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete, and now she has Black Nativity. And acting is and remains a challenge for her. And so consequently, there are moments frequently, and if you see all 3 of these films, and I've gotten to see all 3 of these films this year, and you notice there's a consistency. There's no thinking, there's no thought, there's no depth, there's no resonance, there's no connecting to the characters, and I don't know if it's fair to ask her to take on these kinds of things based on the fact that you really want her to sing.
Well, I agree that acting is not her strong suit, although she, in the right role, obviously Dreamgirls, she was great. But in this film, I feel like this is her strong suit because it's a musical. She mostly sings throughout the entire movie.
So Black Nativity was directed by Cassie Lemons, who, if you remember, she started off as an actress. I mean, every time you see Silence of the Lambs, you think of Jodie Foster's buddy in the Academy, right? She's also a very creative and respected director. She gave us Eve's Bayou, The Caveman's Valentine, but we feel like maybe there's some dualities or some struggle. I feel like that there's a struggle going on in this film between Cassie Lemons, the creative director, and the influence of T.D. Jakes.
I thought you were gonna work something out with the bank. I thought we could win it back.
I've been trying. It's hard getting that much together.
So we gotta move?
Langston.
Where we gonna live, Ma? Why didn't you tell me? I can help you.
Help me. We got $5,000.
It's just not a theatrical film.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a full movie. It felt like I was watching a TV movie of the week.
Soap opera, maybe?
Yeah, or just a TV Christmas special, you know?
Part of what's at odds here is that there is an entire additional narrative built around an original play, which was the performance of the Nativity,
Because
right?
the Nativity part was fantastic.
Which all takes place as
But
part
that's
of a
barely
dream
even in the
sequence.
movie. I mean, that's the title of the film, and it's barely in the movie.
Well, the themes run throughout. I think, you know...
And maybe that's why it feels like a tale of two movies.
Yeah.
And for a musical,
I think you're right.
I didn't even think the music was that good.
It was uneven. There was a lack of consistency or continuity, I thought. But I have to say, I loved the Mary J. Blige song.
Yes.
But let her sing more.
I wanted to more of that. I thought that was the most beautiful, choreography in the movie.
I was waiting the whole movie. We see Mary J. in the beginning of the movie. I was like, when's she gonna start singing? You don't put Mary J. Blige in a movie and don't have her sing.
Right.
No, that part to me was whimsical. It was magical. If the whole film had been that throughout, then you would have a very strong movie on your hands.
This film was made for a very specific audience. For that audience, I think it's best watched at home. For everyone else, I say skip it.
While the storytelling in this film is a bit heavy-handed, there are powerful themes, and the film is not without merit. Stream it.
The niche market fans are going to see this anyway. For all others, the music is worth a stream it.
Well, our votes add up to one full ticket, which is a stream it for Black Nativity.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Happy holidays.
Merry Thanksgiving.
Merry Christmas.
A troubled advertising executive is kidnapped and locked in solitary confinement.
Hey, tell me why I'm in here. Look at me. No.
Suddenly, he is released 20 years later with no explanation. He goes on a quest for vengeance to discover why he was imprisoned in Oldboy.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Salim, and we're here to talk about Spike Lee's remake of the Korean film Oldboy. We've all just seen it. Aaron, take it away.
Unfortunately, it's really hard to watch remakes, for me personally, without looking to the original. I mean, Brenna said before, nothing exists in a vacuum, and I think that's the case here. You can't watch this one without comparing it to the original Oldboy.
You know, when we talk about adaptations, it's really important that you're able to take the essence of whatever that is that exists in another form and then make it relevant to the new audience in the new
Or
format.
change it to fit your own style, or leave it the way it is.
Or, in which case, if you're going to leave it, then why bother redoing it, right?
Yeah, but you want
You
to
can make that argument.
But you want to be able to say something new about this story that you're telling. You don't want it to be not necessarily the exact same thing, but you want to be able to have it be your voice. You know, stylistically, I think a perfect example of American cinema that did Asian cinema really well is The Departed. You took the story, which is almost beat for beat from Infernal Affairs. However, Scorsese made it his own style all the way.
It's a Scorsese
It's a
movie.
Scorsese, even though it didn't have a lot of specific Scorsese thing. He actually added some stylistic choices to this. Some that we liked, some that we didn't. But I think that it was unique in and of itself. Whereas this one, it's not as unique. It's kind of, like I said, it's in the middle. It's muddled.
I just wanted him to go one way or the other. I really wanted to just see a Spike Lee joint, Oldboy. That's what I wanted.
That would have been very interesting.
Exactly.
I feel like that the characters don't exist in the same world. You have some of them
That's
that
the
are really
problem.
kind of cartoonish, like the villain and his sidekick played by Samuel L. Jackson. But then you have these kind of characters that are grounded in the real world, like Michael Imperioli's character, he runs a bar, and then even the Josh Brolin character. So you're kind of going, which world are we living in here? And so there is an inconsistency in terms of whether this is supposed to really be rooted in graphic novel aesthetic, right?
Which is
or
what
if
this
he's
is based
trying
off
to
of.
be realistic. And the problem is that Spike Lee has a very strong style himself.
Yeah.
And without him having to be able to rely on messages or really having an idea of what this story really is about, all you're left with is this style.
Today I vow to change.
We're gonna squeeze for 2. Make sure you really resist. Join with me now.
Here we go. And squeeze.
92.
Squeeze.
93.
I do think that there are some shining moments, like
yeah,
Josh
there's
Brolin's
great.
performance,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I
the
think
performances
all the
are
performances
great.
My favorite, though, is Charlton Copley as our villain because he creates a mustache-twirling villain that doesn't fit
He's
the
a
movie at
step
all,
away
but
from
he's
here.
awesome.
I've been such a big fan of
Me
Charlton
too.
because it feels like every single role he plays is
It's something
completely
really
different.
different, yeah.
Well,
Like he could be a
Elysium,
completely
right?
different person.
He's in Elysium.
He's in Elysium. He's in District 9. He's
Europa
also in
Report.
Europa Report. He's also in the A-Team.
Okay.
And he's completely
that's right.
Yes,
He's in the A-Team.
He's in all these movies.
He's
and
like a chameleon.
completely. And what I love is that they actually had a hard time finding a person to play this character, this villain character, because of how difficult of a character was to be. It was going to
Well,
be.
he's one of the
how the
cartoonish
mindset that you have
characters,
to
I
be
think.
in to play this
Yeah.
character. People were kind of shying away from it because they didn't want to be. They didn't want to do this character.
Yeah, well, like that character is a screwed up person.
It's extremely unsettling. Any other character, any other person who would have played it, I don't think they would have been able to have been as unsettling as he was.
Yes, I agree. It's tough though because it doesn't really gel with the rest of the movie. He's like the craziest part of the movie, but I think
See,
it's
I have
awesome.
a hard time appreciating his role because he's one of the ones that's very over the top. And so you kind of wonder, why is this character in this particular film? Nevertheless, his performance is quite good. Josh Brolin, though, clearly this is a man who can carry a film.
Every time.
I'm just waiting
Every
for him
single
to get a
time.
really great project.
Me too. I think he's Oscar caliber. He just hasn't been able to get that role. He was great.
Hello? I thought it was time we met.
I was pleasantly surprised to see how good he looked doing his fight scenes. You know, he was brutish in his fighting, and he was very convincing. And I was, oh, check out Josh Brolin. He's looking good.
There are so many visual things that I did like. It was just the fact that none of them coalesced. I mean, the fight scene in the hallway that is very reminiscent of the original is cool. There's some unique camera movements that are only Spike Lee camera movements, not Chan-wook Park. But then you get a scene right after that that just is completely the opposite in tone and in style and in pacing and in edits. It just doesn't work.
A somewhat obvious and often derivative miscalculation. Stream it.
This is a disappointment for all fans of the original. Still, there are a few things worth checking out, so I say stream it.
Fans of the original Oldboy are going to go and see this anyway, just to compare it. For everyone else, the entertainment value just isn't there. Skip it.
Looks like our votes add up to one full ticket, which is a stream it for Oldboy.
I can live with that.
Cheers.
I can live with that.
Oh well.
The holidays are fast approaching, and this means holiday movies. But everybody always talks about Christmas and seems to forget about poor Thanksgiving. So this year, I'm going to forego my favorite Christmas movie, which is Die Hard, by the way, to talk about my favorite Thanksgiving movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I know you, don't I? I'm usually very good with names, but I'll be damned if I haven't forgotten yours.
You stole my cab.
I've never stolen anything in my life.
I hailed a cab on Park Avenue this afternoon, and before I could get in it, you stole it.
You're the guy who tried to get my cab. I knew you, yeah. You scared the bejesus out of me.
Starring comedic dream team Steve Martin and John Candy, this 1987 comedy from writer-director John Hughes is as formulaic as can be. It follows a snooty businessman as he tries to get home to his family in time for Thanksgiving. But after his flight is canceled, he's forced to team up with his worst nightmare, a working-class slob.
I got an idea. I know the manager pretty well. I sold him some rings for his curtains. If you want to pick up the cab fare, I'll make sure you get a room for the night.
Yeah, sure, great.
Now, you know they're not going to get along. You know they're going to fight and argue, and you also know that they are going to get to their destination and become best buds along the way. But that's not important. What is important is the hilarious and silly yet charming and heartfelt journey that puts them on various modes of transportation. So after you and your family gorge yourself on Thanksgiving goodness, roll into the TV room and watch this holiday classic.
A former DEA agent moves to a small town to live a quiet life.
I miss Mom.
Me too.
But he accidentally crosses paths with a dangerous drug trafficker. So he must fight to protect his daughter in Homefront.
Hi, I'm Liz.
I'm Zoriana.
And I'm Sean. Homefront is next up, the action film starring Jason Statham. We've all just seen it. Zoriana, what'd you think?
Sylvester Stallone adapted the screenplay based on a novel by Chuck Logan. He was nominated for an Oscar for writing Rocky.
Because Rocky's the best movie ever.
You would not think that the person who wrote the screenplay for this movie ever was nominated for an Oscar. The screenplay is so bad. People were laughing, and this is not a comedy.
It's not so good. It's not that great of a movie. I think the issue is that in terms of the script, you only learn just enough to frustrate you as an audience member.
Well, I was just trying to figure out exactly what attracted Stallone to this material in the first place. He must have liked the novel. The plot is okay. It could be an interesting movie. You've got Jason Statham and his little girl gets in a fight, and that causes all these kind of crazy...
It's like an avalanche. This one event created an avalanche.
Domino effect that happens, and there's all this drug smuggling going on, and the character played by James Franco, his world collapses, and there could have been an interesting element with his character blaming it on his sister, played by Kate Bosworth. The screenplay does not get into the meaty elements that could be good about this story, and that's part of what's frustrating as well.
But also what's frustrating is that everything happens too conveniently. You know, there's a break-in and he's looking for a file, but there's so many boxes of files, but he just happens to open the right one that happens to have the exact file that he needs. And the conveniences happen too much and too soon for it to have any credibility whatsoever.
There is a kernel of worth. I think we like to find some positive aspects of a movie if you sit there for 2 hours. The central inciting incident, or whatever term you want to use, is a little girl gets in a fight and she's bullied. And because she's bullied, all these horrible, horrible things happen in the small town that lead to like this outlandish gunfight over meth. But
yes,
at the very core of it, it's all because she was bullied. So it's like the film is trying to say that bullying is bad.
No, the film is not.
That's good.
No,
that's a good message.
The film is not. There is no message in that because the bully learns nothing in the end. Okay.
Well, the bully likes
there's
the little
none
girl.
of that. The bully never comes around full. We just never see the bully anymore. He disappears off the face of the earth.
It doesn't do it well, but
Right.
I'd like to think that it's tried.
Jason Statham is the lead here, and he seems to be playing the exact same character over and over again at this point. I've seen this in Safe. I've seen this in Parker.
But I used to like it. I used to like it.
He's got presence. I like Jason Statham, but
yes,
it's become tiring.
This is what he does, and he's good at it. And so for him and what he's doing in this movie, he's great. You don't expect anything else. If you want Jason Statham, you get Jason Statham. It's everyone else around him. James Franco delivers the worst performance of his career.
I thought he was good.
I mean,
I thought he was fine.
He looked like he was acting.
I looked at his performance as a decent effort in a bad film, and I actually left the theater thinking, well, at least James Franco was in it.
Yeah, we've never been properly introduced, you and me.
Well, I won't ask your name. I personally believe a reputation's the most important thing. It's pissed off some of the locals.
Look, I don't want any more problems.
Okay. Anything else you're thinking hard about? Because I can smell the wood burning.
Director here is Gary Fleeter, who's made some okay thrillers like Kiss the Girls. He made Runaway Jury. Fleeter adopts this sort of kinetic style that's very common in action films these days, quick cutting. I just thought the style didn't work either. Some of these action sequences, these fight sequences are cut in that way. I can't tell what's going on. They happen at night, which makes it even worse.
He has this thing that he did repeatedly. I counted maybe 3 or 4 times in the film where he does these transitions where as one scene ends, he's intercutting the beginning of the next one.
Oh, I liked that.
And then it moves on. That's a great style. It's an interesting tool to use, but he used it at least 3 times. So I just thought...
He tried to establish something, but that wasn't this film. I mean, it's like he was trying to cover up the problems of this film, maybe with style, but it didn't, it kept like it was chasing the cool, or chasing like something hip. It didn't get there.
You can look at it and you could say, well, that's an interesting technique, but I just don't know the purpose of it.
This is supposedly a franchise in the making, and the end is so obvious, hinting at like, I'll see you next time. But I don't think there will be a next time here.
Homefront is a very generic Jason Statham vehicle with little new, and it lacks excitement. Skip it.
For Jason Statham fans, this movie will be a see it no matter what. But for the rest of you, skip it.
If you're really in need of an action binge, I say go check out Expendables 2 again. Homefront is yuck. Skip it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wait for me.
Elsa and Anna are sisters, separated because of Elsa's magical powers.
Arendelle.
It's completely frozen.
After Elsa accidentally sends her kingdom into an eternal winter, she runs away. So Anna goes on an epic journey to find her and bring her home.
I know how to stop this winter.
In Frozen.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Zoriana.
And I'm Sean. Next up is the Disney animated musical Frozen. We've all just seen it. Kevin, did this leave you cold?
Loved everything about it. Loved the music, loved the voice actors. I loved the plots. I loved how they turned Disney tropes on its head. I loved it.
And also, it's not just a movie. It's not just an animated film. It's a musical. There's so many original songs, and everyone involved in the film either like works on Broadway, performs on Broadway, writes music for Broadway, acts on Broadway. That it has that bigness to it, that big Broadway feel. So wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being a Broadway production eventually. But I sort of walked out of there feeling like I just saw a show. You know, it was great.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Well, I'm automatically cynical by saying it's good. Listen, I'm a huge fan of the Hollywood golden age of musicals. I love musical theater. I love the Disney Renaissance pictures and the pictures of the 40s and 50s from Disney. I don't think this is as good as those. I think
Why not?
Well, as a musical, first off, I think it's really strangely structured. All of the songs are in the beginning half of the picture. The last 45 minutes, there's not a single song to be had.
Beauty and the
here.
Beast is the same way. The last song is Beauty and the Beast, and then they never sing again.
Well, but...
Ha-ha!
Wait a minute.
Ha!
Okay, so the last song is Beauty and the Beast. The last song in here, isn't it the one sung by the snowman that's comical?
No.
It's a weird song to
It was
end
the
on.
Trolls, but which is even comicaler.
This particular story is more akin to Tangled than it would be to, let's say, Beauty and the Beast or The Little Mermaid. You know, it's the independent girl who can do it on her own, and she doesn't need the guy. It's something that parents will appreciate. I think that's something that moms would totally go for and happily take their kids to see because it's not a damsel in distress.
Yes.
So there's a lot to offer here, not just for the young girls who will totally appreciate it, but for parents as well.
What do we do?
I got this. You just don't fall off and don't get eaten.
But I want to help.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't trust your judgment.
Excuse me?
Who marries a man she just met?
It's true love!
Whoa! Whoa. Whoa!
Kristen Bell plays Princess Anna here, the lead, and she's great as this little quirky, awkward princess that doesn't go with all the other Disney princesses. She sort of defies expectations, and that's what makes her so great in this movie.
Because she has that comedy streak in her that we've seen her do in live action film. But she's also appeared on Broadway and she can sing. So again, perfectly lined up.
And that surprised me too. I didn't know I knew she could sing, but I didn't know she could sing that well. And I was kind of floored by it. I thought it was really nice.
What did I ever do to you? Enough, Anna. No, why? Why do you shut me out? Why do you shut the world out? What are you so afraid of? I said enough!
What I appreciate about the voice cast here was that all of them worked in Broadway in some capacity. So not only are these guys doing the acting, but they're also doing the singing. Josh Gad steals this movie. Olaf the Snowman, I mean, that is just, you just want to take his little face and just smush it. I mean, this character was just so adorable. Every time he came up on screen, you could just hear the kids there was this lightness. You could like almost hear the cheek muscles smiling on everyone's faces. It was such a great character.
Josh Gad is great. I didn't need the talking snowman.
Oh, come on.
I really didn't need the talking snowman. He comes halfway through the movie. He serves very little purpose. I only felt that there was a talking snowman in this movie because Disney didn't have enough faith in their screenplay that the kids would still be interested in the material at that point.
No. You have to remember, every Disney princess has a non-human companion. Entangled, she had the chameleon. The Little Mermaid had Sebastian. They all have their non-human friends. So I thought he fit in perfectly.
We need Elsa to bring back summer.
Summer? Oh, I don't know why, but I've always loved the idea of summer and sun and all things hot.
Really? I'm guessing you don't have much experience with heat.
Nope.
The directors here are Disney veterans. We have Chris Buck, who was a co-director on Tarzan and has been with the animation department since the 80s.
He did Surf's Up, too.
Surf's Up. And Jennifer Lee, who's been a writer. She co-wrote the screenplay. She also co-wrote Wreck-It Ralph.
They didn't overdo it with pop culture references. I don't think they had actually any, which I think makes it a classic at that point, because it's not going to be dated in 10 years. It's going to be something that you can enjoy for many years to come.
That's been part of the Disney tradition forever. I mean, they don't use the pop culture references that so many other people do, and that's part of what makes their films so wonderful and last for such a long time.
And we should mention the music written by Robert Lopez and his wife Kristen Anderson Lopez, and they did Avenue Q. They also wrote songs for Winnie the Pooh. I thought they did a fantastic job. They're memorable songs, and for me, that's make it or break it with a musical. If I don't walk out humming a song, it was a failure, and I walked out humming songs. This is a welcome return to the classic Disney musical, and I loved it. See it.
This film makes you feel like you just walked out of a Broadway show without having paid the Broadway prices. See it.
Frozen won't leave you cold. It's the Disney formula, and it works. See it. Cheers!
I was really touched. Shut up!
You know, you could not be so cheap and just take her out to see it this year.
There are better movies to take her to see in the theater this year.
Are you dying? Put your hands up.
Some agua.
Put your hands up.
Agua.
Put your hands up like you're on a roller coaster.
Acorn TV, proud sponsor of Just Seen It, offers hundreds of hours of British mysteries, dramas, and comedies streaming commercial-free on demand. Learn about our 30-day trial at acorn.tv/PTV.